Bedford, Pennsylvania, on Monday, June 12th, 2017. And this is the follow-up video that I did yesterday. And I wasn't sure if I was going to do that today, the follow-up, but looking at my schedule, I decided that it's better for me to just go ahead with it and get this video out of the way. Two reasons. I was at an event last Saturday. I've got a bunch of stills and stuff to work with throughout the rest of the week, so I want to dedicate the rest of the week to my still photography and my stores and everything. So that's good. That's forcing me to get to my follow-up video from yesterday quickly. I don't want to keep my audience waiting. So, and another reason is this coming Saturday, I'm going to a car show. I'm going to be doing stills and a video as well as a 360 video. So I've got a lot of good stuff coming up. Anyway, so I just want to get that out of the way here real quick. Now, I wanted to touch on something else. I didn't realize it, but I made an error in my editing yesterday on the video. I was talking about the wood border that I have. And so if you saw yesterday, anyone who saw yesterday's video, you're going to be saying, what border? I don't see any border. The problem is I placed it into one of my editors, and when I was editing, I wasn't paying attention, and it took the wooden borders out. I'm going to use a different editor today, and you'll see the borders. Plus, I'm going to put in the my text edits and stuff on a lot better than the way it turned out yesterday. This is just some of my tweaks that I mentioned in yesterday's video. I'm just learning my video editing and that sort of thing. So that's just going to come with practice. And also, at the end of this video, if you didn't see yesterday's video, I'm going to have cards and things. So, and subscribers to subscribe buttons, little circle things. You'll see one cat and another cat. One is for my channel here, and the other subscribe circle is for my kitty. His name is Joe, for his channel. And also, I will put a card up probably on the top somewhere to yesterday's video. So if you're going, what, I don't know what you're talking about, that'll direct you to yesterday's video, so that way you can understand what I'm talking about, not only in the context of this video that I'm going to get to in a second, but also what I'm talking about as far as the borders and not being on yesterday's video and that sort of thing. What I'm going to work on doing is some of the things I've learned. I'm going to intertwine some videos, so I'm going to have one video and then I'm going to have a card at the end and lead people into another video, doing like a series of things. That's just some of the things I'm working on. I've got a lot of things going. So anyway, I spent a lot of time blabbing about that. Now, this is going to be a lengthy video. This is going to be probably about a 10-minute video. So let me get on to what the gut of this is all about. Is the things that I've overcome. Now, I was talking about the white light and all that stuff on yesterday's video, so no need to rehash that. You'll see that in the card and you go on that video. Anyway, things I've overcome is one, drugs, 2, alcohol, and 3, overeating and just a lot of bad diet habits. And as far as the first 2, the drugs and the alcohol, that's completely gone, completely, no cravings, nothing, completely gone on my life. The food thing, well, that's a different story. I'll get to that more in detail, but that's an ongoing battle. But my purpose for this is I've won a lot of battles, and I know there's many people out there that are struggling with these things, whether it's drugs, booze, or food. I just want to let you know that I have successfully overcome these things, and I just want to share this with you to give you hope. You're not alone. I battle with the food thing every day. It's tough, but but I'm doing it. Anyway, let me get into it. Drugs. I first started, my first time I started pot, I think I was around 11, and shortly thereafter I went on to speed. And let me just say for a bit, I am one in favor of who favors marijuana or the THC, the component of marijuana, in use for medical conditions, but under two guidelines. I don't like a lot of regulations, government regulations, but in this case, I feel that marijuana or the THC used as for medical purposes needs, if it's going to be done and done properly, it needs to be regulated not only by the doctor, by the physicians monitoring the patient, but also by the FDA. I'm not a big fan of that, but in this particular case, I think it needs to be done if they're going to proceed with that. Another thing is if a patient is one who receives treatment for medical marijuana, it needs to be treated like a DUI. So in other words, if you're taking this medical marijuana, and I would prefer the way I think it should be done is a pill form, not smoke form, because you're going to get these people that they're going to say, great, okay, I'm going to get this, and they're just going to bong out all day. That's not the purpose of it. The purpose of it, as one who because as I'm doing this, I am in excruciating pain right now. My neck and my neck wants to turn one way, but I take medicines to overcome it, but it just dulls the pain. But while I'm doing this, I'm in pain. I'm in pain 24 hours a day. So you just live with it. You just got to deal with it. So, but another thing on this, I also feel, because I'm living proof of this, that when you start pot, it's a gateway drug to heroin, because I did A to Z. I did pot, then speed, and then other things, and then you start hanging around with the different type of people, and you get everything. I did mushrooms, uppers, downers, quaaludes, black beauties, hash, you name it. I started around 11. I finally I was so bad on amphetamines. I was popping them like crazy because I was working crazy hours. But here's how I got off of. And another thing, I got off of drugs and alcohol completely with not one day of rehab. I did it with all. It was all self-done with help from a few people, and I'll get into that, but no rehab. I'm not saying that everybody can do this. I think I was very blessed and very lucky to have some people to really help me through this and get through some problems to get through it. Anyway, as far as the reason I'm doing that this year is because I was I just recently turned 59, and I was right around 29 or so when drugs, including pot, completely were gone from my life for good. So it's 30 years. This year marks a 30-year anniversary of me being off drugs, and the 10-year anniversary of me being off of alcohol. I'll get to that when I talk into the alcohol section. But back to the stepping stone thing. It just, as far as I'm concerned, it is a gateway drug, because what happens is you're around these people, and then when you're looking for your pot and there's none around, they say, oh, well, we've got this and that. That's how I ended up going on mushrooms and LSD and all this other stuff, because there's no pot around. Okay, well, let's try this, and it's just a mess. But here's the kicker. Here's how I managed to get off drugs. I was doing all this, and I was snorting this and that, snorting amphetamine, snorting coke, and I was at a friend's, and he says, "Here, I'm going to give you a bunch at CO on the house." I eventually refused it once I found out what it was, but I took a snort, And at the time, it was like the greatest thing. I said, wow, what is it? And I think it was, he said it was black tar heroin. And my dad always preached. I was always in trouble with my parents. They were catching me high on pot, and but that's a whole different story. But anyway, my dad was always laying into me saying, you know, pot leads to heroin, pot leads to heroin, pot leads to heroin. And he was right. At least in my case, it was. And when this guy told me, it just like the lights went on. It's like, what am I thinking? So I made up an excuse. I said, well, yeah, I just told him, I declined the offer and just made an excuse to leave. And I left. We parted peacefully, and I declined his offer. And I'm thinking, my God, I just did just what my dad warned me about. And then I thought about I was popping about 20 amphetamine tablets a day. I'm sure I was hooked. So the following day after that, because I was determined at that point, I said, okay, this is what's happening. I am not going to get hooked on heroin. There's no way. I never injected a needle. I hate needles, and I've never injected a needle in my life. It was only that one time that I did heroin, and I was determined that was going to be the last. So I went to my supplier where I was getting my, he's a friend of mine, and still is to this day a friend of mine. And I told him, I said, I explained to him, I said, look, I'm doing this and this at my supplier, and I said, we need to get me off of these amphetamines. Otherwise, I'm going to end up right in the hospital with another overdose. My parents are going to find you, and they will find you. You will end up in jail. It's going to be a nightmare. I want off of this stuff, and I want to do it in a way where you don't get in trouble and where I don't overdose. And so we put our heads together, and he said, okay, here's what we're going to do. He says, everything from here on out is on the house, on me. He says, you're taking this amount. Okay, take this amount today. Come back tomorrow. He said, I'm gonna hold it for you. Come back tomorrow. You take one tablet less. Come back the following day. You take one tablet less. We did this. It took me about 3 weeks. 3 weeks, mind you, to get completely off of amphetamines without the side effects, without the shakes, without the withdrawals, without anything. We did a slow process, and finally on the 22nd day, I knocked on his door, and he thought I relapsed, and he said, "Oh my God, what happened? What did you do?" I said, "No, I came here to thank you." So I said, I said, I have no desire for this anymore, and I have you to thank for that. So we hugged. I still was doing pot at the time, so we had a few bong hits, and we went our ways. So those years progressed. I did still do coke and stuff, and that on a small scale, but no amphetamines. Amphetamines were gone, but I did some coke, mainly pot, until I was about 29. And finally, when I was around 29, I just ran out of. My life changed, so the people I hung around with are different, and then finally, so the pot went away. 29. So that was around 29. And no pot, no nothing. And I was drug free, and I've been drug free ever since. If I can do it, you can do it. And if anybody's out there and you're listening to me, I will, private message me. I will talk to you, or whatever. I'll help, whatever I can do to help, because it's doable. You're not alone. It's a rough road. It took years for me to do that. Now, okay. I'm already 14 minutes into this. This is going to be a pretty long video, but next one was booze. Again, I started at an early age, and wasn't drinking a whole lot. The biggest thing with the alcohol was, and I don't know, I had a screw loose somewhere. I just don't learn until until it's too late. But anyway, or before it's too late, but right around there. But I'm a slow learner. So I started young with booze. Then my father passed away in 1981, and I moved back home. He suffered for about 18 months. So I was living with some roommates. I moved back in with my mom to help him. He had a second heart attack, and basically it damaged some brain cells, and he suffered for 18 months. But during that, and it was like dealing with someone with Alzheimer's. So me and my mom were basically, and I think I was out drinking her, but my drinking beer escalated. I can't even recall, but if I guess right, I was probably drinking close to a 12 pack or more a day. That's a lot of beer. Then follow that up in 1987. I lost my oldest brother, who was a Vietnam vet, and again at that time I was living in Northern California. Again, I was living with my mom because of other circumstances that I got myself into. But anyway, so my oldest brother passed away, and then back again. I had tapered off on the drinking, wasn't so bad, but then my brother died, and then back again, almost 12 pack or more a day. And then the weight, and then the beer, there's a lot of sugar and a lot of stuff, and I gained a lot of weight. Eventually I lost it once I quit drinking the beer. But I ballooned up to about 180 pounds just because of all the beer I was drinking. But just a 12 pack or more beer a day. That's not good. Anyway, my doctor advised me, so I tapered off. Eventually, I stopped beer altogether. In fact, I don't even like the taste of beer now. In fact, I don't like the taste of any alcohol, not even wine. So eventually I did go back a little bit. I did some wine, but then here's the kicker. I was drinking, you get these big old giant gallons, I guess, of wine, big bottle. I'm not sure how much wine I was drinking, but the day before I got a note from my doctor to tell me to stop drinking alcohol immediately because I had a blood test. But I fell on the floor. I was drinking. I must have passed out or something. But when I woke up, I was in a pool of blood. My nose apparently was just shooting out blood. But when I got the letter from the doctor, it explained all this stuff in the blood test. Basically, what was happening is I was developing cirrhosis of the liver. My doctor said quit immediately, and I got the letter after I had that horrifying morning, and there was still about half a jug of wine there. I dumped it all down the drain. Then I quit for about 2 or 3 years after that. Altogether, no alcohol. Then things changed, and then I got married and later divorced. But then I did go back to drinking wine on a smaller scale. 2 little glasses a day. Nothing. I wasn't getting drunk. Just a couple glasses a night. But then, as I aged, I got a number of medical conditions, and I'm taking prescriptions for it, one of them being metformin. Well, I didn't know, and my wife at the time, who was not my ex-wife, she came home with a paper and she says, did you know that the combination of the metformin and the alcohol that could kill you? And that was around 2006, 2007, something like that. And at that time, there was a few of these, famous singers and other Hollywood people that were just passing away right and left from booze and prescription drugs. I'm sitting there watching the news, drinking my wine, on the medication that I'm taking, not even thinking about it. Knock, knock, what was I thinking? She came home with that, and that was it. So 10 years to June of this year, I quit booze altogether, cold turkey. When she came home with that paper and explaining that alcohol metformin, something I should have realized anyway. But anyway, I saw the paper in there, and it's like, my God, what am I doing? I'm not even. I went through this once before when I passed out, and and these people here are dying on TV. So so I just quit right then and there. I think there was like a little spit in my glass. I just downed it, and there was a little bit in the bottle. Poured that down the drain, and that was it. She said, "You don't want any more?" I said, "No, I'm done," and that was it. That's how I quit alcohol, with absolutely no. Now I was at my 40th year high school reunion last year, and I had some near beer, and I was coming back, driving back with my friend back to where I was staying at his house, and I said, I don't know why I had that near beer. I said, man, I feel awful. It tasted awful. And he said, why did you do it? And I said, because I wasn't thinking, and I said, and another reason, I said, I wanted to prove to myself that I don't want alcohol, and trust me, my body does not want alcohol. I have no desire for it. Why I drank that near beer on that my reading is even though there is 1% alcohol in it, but my body rejected it. I felt miserable. So yeah, that's gone. That's out of my system, and that leads to food. I'm already at 21 minutes. So yeah, thank you if you're still watching and listening. Trust me, I'm doing this to help people, because I want you to understand that, first of all, this is not an easy process, but it's doable. It's doable. So if I can help anybody out there, please leave a comment and let me know, because and if you need somebody to talk to, I will be more than glad to talk to you and message you or whatever, and help you get through whatever you need to get through. But with the booze and the drugs out of the way, well then, and I've always had a weakness for donuts. I should have been a cop. And that's another thing. So with those out of the way, then my problem got into eating all the wrong foods. Again, ballooned back up to almost 200 pounds. I'm 5'6". I'm currently at about 143. I try and keep my weight now between 138 and 145. I don't like being in the 140s. I like being right around 140. I feel sluggish when I start approaching 150, and then I gotta get back and do my stuff. Basically now, but anyway, what happened, and that was about 2010, as caused a lot of digestive problems. I was my now ex-wife drove me to the emergency room because I was having all kinds of problems. Basically, what was happening is I was severely constipated and just had a lot of digestion issues. Just things weren't digesting, and so they worked me through that. But I nearly died. I just nearly died because, and not only that, my doctor was saying that all that was compressing on my heart. It was making, and he said, and he was looking at all my stuff. He says, "You lose all this weight, all these bad numbers are going to go along with it. You lose the weight, you lose these bad numbers." Sure enough. And to this day, now that I keep it around the 140 range, I've got my diabetes under control. I've got my blood pressure under control. There's nothing I can do about the involuntary muscle movements. That's just there. That just happens. That's just something I'm going to have to live with, and the pain that goes along with it, I'm just going to have to live with the rest of my life. But so that was, let's see, 2010. Yeah, 2010. So that was when I started. So it took a couple of years. I'm now more or less on a Mediterranean diet. And that's I've been doing since probably about 2012, 2013. So about 4 years. So 30 years off of drugs, 10 years off of booze, about 4 years going strong on a good diet and exercise. I try to walk about 5 to 6 miles a week because I love my still camera. I got to go out there and get the pictures and that sort of thing. I love doing that, so I get out there and walk when the weather permitting. Tried doing some stuff out in the ice and slipped, and so I need to be careful on that. And but anyway, that's the long and short of it. It's doable. It's a lot of work, but it can be done. I did it without. Oh, and one other thing. I never spent a day in jail because of drugs. I did get busted for a small possession of pot once, and I think I paid had to appear before a judge, paid like a $50 fine. But drinking, yeah, I there was a time where I got 2 DUIs in less than a 7-year span, and almost got my license suspended. Got a warning from the DMV in California. Cleaned up my act, had a good record. So yeah. So there was, and yes, and I did spend a night in jail on one of those DUIs. But that's my only jail visit. And then the food, I'm just still working on that. So I just want to leave on a positive note that you can do it. And what I say to that is, when I succeed, when I do my editing, and I succeed, I'm going to do a video. My one word thing is yes. Yes, yes. Well, that's 2 words, but yes. When I do something good, and when I get a good doctor visit, I go, yes. That's my word. Anyway, with that, that concludes this video. This is almost a half-an-hour video. I hope you've taken the time to listen to all this. I've had a lot to say, but I needed to get this out, let everybody know what I've accomplished. And not only that, this isn't all about me. This is about you. If you're having a problem, you can do it. If you're having a problem, contact me, message me, do something. Because I've been there. I've been in the boat. So please, reach out. You're not alone. Anyway, well, have a good day. I will see you on the next video. I'll be working on another series, and time to cut this one off. Goodbye.